Lucky Ali, welcome to the show and really welcome back. Hoping to see a lot more of you. You please don't take breaks. It breaks our heart as fans who love your work and your music.
Thank you. Don't you take breaks? I mean, I'm sure everybody takes breaks here. Yeah.
But you are back with a bang, really, with Unwind, with MTV. The show, of course, will feature other singers as well. But for us, the USP is Lucky Ali, who will be on the show. The theme for your performance is World Fusion. Please tell us more.
Yeah. Basically, we took two of our previous tracks. One was '07 track, and the other one was from our very early tracks. Around that time, Gori Teri Aankhein. And what we did was we involved a band called Narang. Narang is a group of musicians from different countries altogether. I mean, like, for example, you have people from India, you have people from Iran, you have someone from Egypt. It's a group that helped, interpret these songs that we'd already done. So yeah, it was amazing. It was really nice working with them.
So are we going to hear only recreations, or there will be some original composition from you? You got a lot of me time lately. You've been away from public gaze.
Well, most of all my music is, apart from the songs that I've done for some of the songs that I've done for the industry, the film industry, they're all my songs. I mean, our songs in a sense. So they're all originals and recreations of my own work, because the song is never finished even after you release it, because you start thinking like, man, I should have put that into it, or I should have done that. Why did I do that? You know, and when I could have done this, you know, so that basically is always and if it's a song that makes sense to people who like to listen to it, then yeah, I mean, it's an experiment in success. So you're working with musicians who also like that song and want to interpret it their way, and then they work with us. And that's how you come out with something, a new expression of something that was already there.
You know, I want to talk to you about the show, but before that, I'm very curious to know, how do you lock in or decide what will be the title track when you have an album ready?
I mean, that's not how I function. My work. My title track, if you want to call it, was in my first album was Rajchandi.
Yeah.
Then it became O Sanam, because you know, that was the interpretation. So it's not always with what you start with. You know, it's what makes sense to a whole lot of people. That's how I think we did O Sanam or all the other tracks like Ghar Ko Main Nikla and the other one, Tere Mere Saath. You know, all those tracks. So it was what the artist has a particular liking. Like, for example, I wished that we'd done something with Suno. Suno, Suno, you know, that one. But the general vibe became more romantic, you know, like, so Suno is more a philosophical song. And, you know, it was observations that probably one went through whilst growing up.
But I of course, Suno was very great, but the one I loved really was Rajchandi. That was the track for me.
Yeah, Rajchandi was for me also, because it was my first that I wanted to start my career with that.
What an album, what a song it was.
So, yeah. And yeah, it had a lot of my family film influences of the Barmanda, you know, feel, and, you know, yeah. So.
Would you give us a few lines from Rajchandi?
Wow, okay, I'm singing tonight though. Anyways. रात चांदनी छाई हुई है, चमक रहा है तारा, ठंडी ठंडी ये पुरवाई, सोचो किसने बनाया, हो तुम ही हो पहले, तुम ही हो आखिर, ही से सारा जहां, तुम ही से माँ बाप, तुम ही से बचपन, तुम ही से समा. So,
Thank you. Awesome. Like you said, before YouTube or other music platform, MTV was the place for singers to get launched. And with Unwind with MTV, can we say this is Lucky Ali 2.0?
2.0 happened 2019. I think this is beyond that. Now we're moving on. So, and those are just titles again. So for me, I'm just the same person. The time that's passed by has only helped in helping us to grow with our music, grow with musicians, and make an expression that you want to again share with everyone.
The flip side of being famous is that once you're not seen much in public, these rumors start appearing, especially the one happened in May earlier this year. How would you react to that?
It never really went away anyway. It's just like when you have a regular job, for example, and then you take a vacation. This is inverted. You're on a vacation and then you come for your job. So it's like, so the vacation is basically about learning. It's about associating. It's about playing live. And then you come and do something that you want to make a presentation, from a studio perspective. So the album that we do, the work that we do is studio work. But the real music happens live on stage, when there's an interaction with audiences and, they sing with you and the musicians are charged and, so that's where but studio albums like the one that we're releasing right now is just to say that it's a presentation and there's more to it than, what you're hearing.
Talking about a studio album, while we know the rockstar life of singers, like how they do these fancy stage shows and they do this recording and music video, but what according to you is the most unglamorous part of music making process?
Everything about the work that I do, I mean, there's no glamour in it. The only glamour that we have is when we come out for our concerts, we stay in a 5-star. But otherwise, it's just like normal life. I mean, art doesn't come from glamour,
Your last album came in 2011, that title Rasta. And please give me an honest answer. Was it disheartening for you when people or the music label were talking to you about rights and contracts? And was this the reason that kept you away and made you take this long hiatus from work?
Well, in the initial stages that I never knew how you'd release music. The only company that I knew was HMV, because that was the company that my father gave his music as a filmmaker, So, I mean, I did understand that if you did music, then you would probably release it through a record company, and but then when you got into details, because I'm not a commerce person. You understand what I mean? I understand it. I can tell you if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. I have that this thing, but I can't tell you how to do it. That you have to figure out. So for me, my work in the music was to the point of just bringing it to how I'd like to see it or how I'd like to hear it, and that would make sense to my contemporaries. And, that's the best way of me explaining myself to the people that so if it felt good and if it meant, made sense to the rest of them, then there was a possibility of taking it to the next stage and releasing it as a piece of work.
But how does it feel to be back in spotlight? A lot has been changed. Now there's a streaming platform. You step out, there's paparazzi. And how are you adapting to this new normal of the music industry?
Well, it's the same for me. I mean, I never really was in that space. And normally when you're releasing music, of course, you have to create a buzz around the work that you're doing. And that's part of the this thing. But I wasn't doing any work. I was just doing an interview, and that happened to be a time when a lot of people were going through a lot of sea changes within their lives, because what happened from 2019 onwards has affected the whole world. I mean, everybody's been affected by that. And of course, so then there was this common connect, and the common connect was something that we made and we all listened to. So
Other very famous song of yours is Safarama, which was in Tamasha, that's starring Ranveer Kapoor. It was a non-lip sync song. Are we going to see another collaboration between Lucky Ali, A.R. Rahman, and Imtiaz Ali?
I don't know about that, but yeah, AR is a good friend of mine, and we always talk about doing something. But I find it very difficult to go to Chennai, or I find it's very difficult for him to come down to Bangalore. And right now, though, it's been a bit difficult. We wanted to do something during the COVID period, but then I was kind of like not too sure if I wanted to travel, and he also was not so sure about that, whether because COVID was in its second wave, and difficulties, and the poor brother like lost his mom during that time. So, but we've been doing our music, we've been correcting work that we compiled earlier. There's new stuff happening. And then there's work that I've done which are not even released, man. I mean, as yet, and those are my favorite songs, and I will release them at some point, I mean, they will release at some point, Farmhouse music. So, but it's all there. I mean, I just need to compile it and then let them do what they need to be doing. So for as long as the expression is there, I want to be expressing myself, because there will be a time when there won't be a time to do that.
Would you like to give us a few lines of Safarnama?
Yeah, sure. When I recorded this song with AR, it was a very small song. And then they like it, and they expanded on it. So I just do the first two lines. Safarama, सवालों का सफरनामा, शुरू तुमसे खत्म तुम पे, सफरनामा.
You are 62, and age is really a number when it comes to talent. There are a lot of singers who've been singing in their 60s and late 60s. The famous one, of course, is Asha Bhosle. What I want to know is, do you sometimes worry about aging in general?
Man, not till my son makes me feel aged, you know what I mean? But otherwise, I do understand that, you're not here forever. You're just mortal. And it's just a growth. I mean, I don't think much about it, because it's the inevitable thing that's going to happen to all of us. I just want to, inshallah, hopefully go in a way that is pleasing to my creator. That's basically how I want to see, hopefully, inshallah, where I want to reach. But of course, I don't worry about these things. And when you have to go, you've got to go. I mean, you're not there forever. I mean, it's easier said than done, maybe, because during this period, we lost a lot of people close to us. And, and then you realize that these are people you're not going to see, at least on earth again, maybe in a different place. So you realize the reality of the journey that you're traversing and the journey ahead. So,
What's that one thing that people misunderstood most about you?
I don't think there's misunderstanding. I think you grow into things. Like you don't have the answers all at one time. As you grow, things make sense. And, oh, you used to think a particular way before, and then it changes. And, it doesn't change. Maybe you matured about it and you look at it in a different way. Yeah.
What drives your career choices? You acted in movies, you released your album, and then we saw you like disappearing from the both from the movies and from music scene.
Yeah, but I wasn't in the music scene or in the film scene. I just happened to be born there. You know what I mean? It was like my parents, my father, I mean, was in the film industry, but then he left also 20 years prior to his departure, I mean, his passing on. Um, so for me, whilst dad was there, I was there. But time dad left, I also took that, route. And, it was something that we never knew very well because I mean, we went to boarding school and stuff like that, but we weren't part of the industry as such. We weren't really allowed to get into the industry till it was right for them to think that, yeah, we should be acting or we should be doing this. But then I never really wanted to be an actor. Um, um, I mean, I know how to act, but I know I know what goes into it and whatever. But what it leaves me with is not a pleasant feeling. But what music is just the opposite. You don't know, and but what it leaves you with is a satisfaction. A kind of like a vibration, which is a kind of like yeah, it's upbuilding.
And finally, Independence Day weekend is just here. Do you have a favorite patriotic song, and what does freedom means to you?
What does freedom mean to me? I think you're never really free because you're bound by that canvas, So you make a little painting at the end of the canvas and you let it grow. So for me, that's my journey. I've just finished one corner. There's still the whole canvas. So it's freedom to, within that framework, explore and for me, the patriotic song that I love. I'll talk about my work, Pyar Ki Duniya. Pyar Ki Duniya was written by P.K. Mishra, a true patriot. And we wrote it here in Hyderabad. I'm here in Hyderabad right now. And for an independence, for the 50th year of Indian independence. But that song never got released. It kind of like got lost, and Anjani Rao came about. So, but that was my, what do you call it? It reminded me of a poem that I studied in school about Bharat. Bharatiya Jai Vijay Kare, Kanak Shashya Kamal Dhare, Lanka Patdal Shatdal, Karjito Sagar Jal. So basically describing the beauty of Bharat, and that song gave me that thing, Jahan hai mere pyar ki duniya, thandi chhaon ki duniya. So that's how I perceive our place we've grown up in. For me, it's that.
Lucky Ali, thank you so much for your time and all the best.
Bye-bye.